Okay, I'm recording. Okay, so I guess let everybody know what happened in with your situation.
Hey, thanks, Ricardo. Basically, this is for ticket for basically it was a 22349 speeding over 65 miles an hour. This was in San Mateo County up here where I live, and the officer basically said that he had paced me using his car. So I ended up going to court, and this was even before I knew anything about how to go ahead and fight all this stuff. And I made the mistake of entering into a contract, and I pled not guilty. So that was sort of like my downfall there, and I had to start to brush up real quick. That's when I got in contact with you. You gave me a quick rundown of what the court would probably do, what motions to go ahead and file, and things to keep an eye out for. So right after I got all the information, I did my research. The first thing that I did was I went down, like you said. I ended up getting a certified certified copy of my file. I got copies of the ticket, and then I went in and filed my motions, which was a notice and motion to dismiss, failure to state cause of action, and demand for a probable cause hearing. Then the next one was a discovery request, a list of all the witnesses for the prosecution, a copy of all the records and maintenance for the speedometer, then a copy of all of the officers' notes, front and back of the ticket, as well as any sort of voice recordings that he might have taken, since I found out that, well, here in the Bay Area where I'm at, the highway patrolmen, they carry microphones either on the lapel on their shirt or underneath their badge, and the moment that they get out of the car, they start recording. So anything you say can and will be used against you, and you can't refuse that, because all they have to do is pull out the CD that they record you on. So,
but we know that whenever they say something incriminating for them, they end up just not using it.
Oh yeah, that's true, without a doubt. And then I also went ahead and I filed the demur, which I ended up finding out that you can go ahead and file that if you are able to go ahead within a timely fashion to go ahead and retract the previous plea that you entered. But there's a certain motion that you have to do to go ahead and do that. So when I ended up filing all those motions, and then I ended up showing up to court, there was the police officer. There was actually two police officers that were involved in this. One of them was there, the one who initiated the chase, and the other one who actually pulled me over, because the one who initiated the chase said he couldn't catch me. So he radioed ahead and got another police officer about a mile up ahead to go ahead and wait until I passed and then pull me over. Now, when I ended up showing up there, the officer who initiated the chase, he was there along with the representative from the police department. And when I walked up there, the judge basically, the commissioner said, okay, we want to go ahead and see what this case has. And he said, give me a second, I want to review all these motions. The moment that he got into my demur, and he asked me, where did I get all this information? I said, this right now doesn't really concern where I got it. The question is, you have to rule on this right away. The moment that I said that, the representative from the police department, from San Mateo Police, he said, we don't have any issue right now with Mr. Cook, and we want to go ahead and dismiss this in the interest of justice. So when I turned to him and I looked, I was about ready to open my mouth, because I had everything set and ready to go, and I was like, wait a minute, why am I going to open my mouth? They want to go ahead and dismiss it, let it go. So the judge said, Mr. Cook, do you have a problem with that? And I said, no. Next thing you know, he slammed the gavel down, he said, case dismissed. So that was one. And this is going to be a total of, right now, I'm 5 for 6. Through everything that you have given me, all the information. The next case that I got here, this is up in Sierra County, which is like up past Reno, and I was up there visiting a in a rental car made the mistake of, doing excessive speed. And I got popped for a 22348, which is basically speeding over 100 miles an hour. And with that being said, I ended up going in there and I filed the exact same things that I filed before: the demur, the notice to dismiss due to lack of probable cause hearing, discovery. And when I walked in there for all of that information during the pleading, the judge said, "How do you plead?" I gave him my demur, and he took a look at that and he goes, "Your demur is overruled, so how do you plead?" I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll be more than happy to give you a plea if you give me a verified complaint." And he said, "Your verified complaint is the ticket." I was like, "No, the verified complaint is a long form. This summons or this notice to appear is a short form that I object to. I don't accept it. I want a long form verified complaint. You cannot proceed unless you give me a verified complaint, or according to what you're trying to push on me on the bottom of this ticket, it states 853.9. You have to have a written authorization from me or a written agreement to proceed."
Yep.
And do you have one of those in your file? Do you have anything for me that with my signature says that you can proceed? He said, "Are you going to give me a plea or not?" I said, "The moment you give me a verified complaint, I'll give you a plea." And he said, "I'm going to enter a plea on your behalf." The moment he did that, I objected, and I told him, "You cannot do that on my behalf unless you are my attorney." He goes, "Well, I'm entering a plea of not guilty." Then I said, "Are you making a judicial determination that I'm not guilty? Because if you are, I want this case dismissed right now." And he goes, "No, I'm not making a judicial determination you are not guilty." I said, "Well, you just said that I'm not guilty. So why can't we just let it go?" He goes, "Mr. Cook, you're really pushing the issue right now." I'm like, "Your Honor, I'm just responding to everything you threw out there." So he gave me a court date, and then I ended up coming in the next time for the actual trial. And again, I had my paperwork to go ahead and retract the court-entered plea. I had more paperwork to file for my verified complaint, my demur, everything. Everything that I submitted, he shot down. I threw it right back at him again, and I was like, "Look, you can't proceed unless I give you permission. So what is it that you want to do?" And then he turned around and he looked, he said, "Mr. Cook, do you see the officer in the courtroom at this time?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Well, he's on his way. He's running a bit late. I don't have time to wait. So along with everything you filed, I'm ready to rule on this case right now. So you can either go ahead and accept what I'm going to give you, or we can wait till the officer gets here." I said, "Well, I'm ready to go ahead and proceed, taking a chance that the officer might just go ahead and walk in the moment I said that." And he said, "In the interest of justice and through everything that you've presented, we're going to go ahead and let this case go, and the case is dismissed." So I lucked out on that one. I know I'm getting short on time, but the very next one was an actual commuter lane violation, and that was a fat ticket or a fat fine. And basically, I again filed everything: the verified complaint, the demand for a court reporter, the demur.
Now let me ask you. Let me ask you a real quick question, so everybody watching or hearing this can understand this. When you filed it, what kind of looks did you get from the court clerks?
Believe it or not, every one of them sat there and looked at me and asked me, am I an attorney? And I was like, "No, I'm not an attorney." But all you have to do is literally pay attention to what the court is going to go ahead and throw at you. And if you study, if you learn this stuff and prepare, it's so simple and it's so easy.
Yeah. And they don't want people to know that, because then guess what? You don't need an attorney. and then they can't sell you down the river and cut deals with the DA. That's exactly what they're set up for.
Exactly. And the thing about it is, when I first got in there, my very first time, I'm going to admit it, I was nervous. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know how to react. But the more that you get in there, the more that you get to learn their vocabulary. I'm going to tell you, man, and after watching some of your stuff and listening to you, dude, this is so fun. I mean, I got a new hobby. It's not that I'm looking to get in trouble with the police, but this information, you're saving yourself so much money. It is unreal.
Yeah, I'm actually learning something from Randy Kelton right now on how to file bar grievances and go after judges, because I hear, I guess attorneys can't do that, but pro se's or pro pers can actually do that. So it's gonna be more fun when I add that to the arsenal.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like hearing stuff like that, and also Mark Stevens. That guy, he's got some really good stuff too.
Yep. He has good stuff. I've seen some stuff that he has in Arizona. I don't know about California though. I haven't seen any of that. But so, and what happened in that case, in the last case, when you were in court?
I ended up going in there, and believe it or not, the commissioner said that we're going to go ahead and proceed with the case. Every single motion that I filed, he shot down. And I was like, how is it that you can go ahead and proceed? Again, you do not have written authorization. You don't have anything in your file from me saying that you guys can go ahead and proceed with this case. And he said, well, you signed the ticket. You waived your rights. I said, yeah, I signed the ticket under duress for self-preservation, because if I didn't, then you guys would have a warrant against me. So that's why I'm here now, under self-preservation. And he goes, well, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this. I'll let a district attorney go ahead and handle this case, and we'll go ahead and set this over for another plea session. So I had to return a second time to enter the plea, and this was under a different commissioner.
Yeah.
So when I showed up in there, the commissioner basically asked me, and I'll make it real quick, he said, how is it that you plead? I'm like, first he says, well, district attorney, what do you want to do? Because I don't have anything in here other than why Mr. Cook is here, and I'm lost. The district attorney looked at the judge, and district attorney said, well, we don't have any interest in this case. We don't even know why we're here. So after I explained everything, the district attorney looked at me and he goes, you filed all this paperwork? I said, yes. He said, you filed the notice to, the notice for dismissal, all of this stuff. And I said, yeah. And he basically looked at me, and he went through the paperwork in about 10 seconds. He goes, we don't want any part of this. This isn't anything that we handle. And honestly, it's not worth our time. So when the district attorney said that, I was like, okay, honestly, I think it really had to do with the verified complaint and them trying to go ahead and prosecute without the district attorney putting a signature on something under penalty of perjury.
Yeah, that's one of the main things. It actually helps them not become liable. Even right now, I'm going to make another video coming up where they actually did that, and they're using it as a verified complaint when there is no signature from the DA, and they're still proceeding, but they cover themselves because they know that when you get a case dismissed, you can go straight to federal court and get them for malicious prosecution. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to try and find out about, that and counterclaims if necessary.
Yeah. So and this is nothing, because I've actually updated some things that I've made, and you know, as entertainment purposes or educational purposes only, where it's 12 different motions now.
Nice.
For one simple traffic ticket. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But is there anything else you wanted to say to people watching this or hearing this?
Yeah, basically, stop being sheep, stop being slaves, and if you guys literally just take your time and listen to what they say and study, or just, all you have to do is read. If you can read, you can do this. And the thing that I had a problem with was I saw the people who went up ahead of me and how much money that the court was generating in the cases before they got to me. And I really wish that people here in the state that spoke, halfway decent English, if they could understand what the judge was telling them, because the courts take advantage of those that are either trying to get citizenship or those that have broken English. And it's really sad that, some of those families, you could tell, they're not making a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
And the court's just raping them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just study. Just study. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate your time for making the video, and I'm gonna go ahead and post this on YouTube now. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.